Hello, dear friends. I'm Nick. I'm your host here in our studio Balkan Sunrise, and I'm here with a special man, with Boris.
Bori, yes.
Bori, welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, with Bori and his family, and as well my family, we spent the New Year together here in Tirana. We had a special service, the IPA, and it has been an amazing time.
Yeah.
Bori, he's originally from United States. He lived in Canada, and now he ended up in Albania. How you end up here?
Honestly, I do not know.
Some bird has brought you here.
Yes, yes. To be honest, I play football
Yes.
professionally. So I was playing in Germany for 6 years. And at a certain time, my wife and I, we both felt that God was leading us to leave Germany. So we kind of explored different places. We thought about where we should end up. And I help out with an organization that helps with Christian footballers, and they're based in the UK. And they'd been going on missions trips to Albania. So this was over a period of maybe like a year. We were kind of waiting and looking for where God was going to open the door. And it was a very strange situation, but my friend connected me to one of his coaches, and his coach connected me to an agent he knew, and he is Albanian, but he lives in the UK.
Okay.
And then he brought me here, and he told me the league is very good. It's a good opportunity to play here and develop yourself as a player. And the door opened up here, so that's how.
So you end up playing here for
KF Tirana.
KF Tirana. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
How is the life, first of all, before to go in the football, how is the life as an expat in Albania?
It's nice, actually. It's a beautiful country with wonderful people. There was a bit of an...
You like the people?
I like the people.
Until you know.
I think that the people have a good heart here.
Yes.
But
Everyone.
yeah,
Good intention.
people, good intentions.
Good intention, yes.
But also one thing, they love children here. So I have a son, and
yes,
every
yes.
time he's walking around, they love him. They would love to like play with him and everything. So the people here are nice. There were some things that were a bit of an adjustment for us. I think the Albanian people are very passionate and expressive, and you see this sometimes like when you're driving. So you hear a lot of words that maybe you shouldn't hear, but
That is good you don't know Albanian.
yes, it's good. So
you can smile.
one
You
ear
don't know
and
what
out
they
the
say.
other. But yeah, it's nice, and there were some like just different logistical things like. There's not really Amazon here, so when we came, we wanted to get things from our
You
house.
have, this is the jungle of Amazon.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's no Amazon, you don't need Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. So, but overall, it's been good. We adjusted, and we're settled in here. So,
I'm very, very glad you are here, Bori, and that's
Thank
all with your family, and it's amazing how God brought you here.
yes.
Coming back to the football, how you discover your passion being to become a football player? Of course, many people, they start playing when they are young, but how was your journey?
So I'm the youngest in my family. I have two older brothers and one sister. Our family is originally our heritage is from Nigeria. So football is the number one sport in Nigeria. But when we moved to Canada, there were you play a lot of different sports growing up, but I always played football because of my siblings, and I also really enjoyed it. And as I started to grow older, people, I guess, noticed that I had an aptitude for football. I had talent. Like the Nigerian cultural thing for the diaspora is to be it's very much school oriented. So you just think, because of how our parents came out of their tough situation was through good education and doing well. So sports and athletics was never really on the table for anything other than just a hobby. But when I started to grow older and get selected for different teams and competitions, my parents decided to say, okay, maybe that he can actually do something with this as a profession. So they kind of gave me a bit of leeway to pursue it and supported me in that aspect, as long as my grades were good. So yeah.
How you discovered this passion for football and how you pursue this career in football, how you end up here?
Well, I think you mean like how does one go from
Yes,
a passion to a
yes.
profession? I think coming from Canada, it was a bit more difficult than it is coming from a European country, because as I said, Canada is a country where you have football is not the number one sport. It's growing, but then there's ice hockey, there's basketball, there's American football. So for me, there weren't so many avenues to kind of develop myself. But I did have a coach who, when I was growing up, his name is Ramon Mifflin. His father played in the World Cup like 2 times, and he played with Pele, so he had some connections. And he connected a teammate that was older than me to go to Germany through an agent on trial, and he ended up doing very well, and he signed a 4-year contract with VfB Stuttgart, which is a team in the Bundesliga. And that kind of opened up a door for me. So after he went, a few years later, my coach helped bring me there, and I started to go on trial and try to establish myself.
So it was like a process.
Yes,
Right.
It was a
What
process.
advices do you have for young students who are like in Albania and they say, hey, I want to become a football player? What is the journey looking like? What do you advise them?
Well, one thing that I would advise them is, firstly, you have to work very hard. I think, being a Christian, it talks about in the Bible that how whatever you do, you have to do it unto God and not to man. I think that if God has blessed you with a talent, you have to do your work to develop the talent to the best of your abilities. I think that that's the first step. The second thing I would say is that you should learn to let go of control, because if I compare my football journey to what I thought it would be before I started it, it's completely different. I feel like football is a sport, or just like when you're working in creative areas or athletics or different things, there are a lot of moving parts and variables, and you realize that you don't have control over a lot of things. You can control the effort you give, but you can't control the result. So you need to have like a lot of resilience, and you need to kind of let go of that control and say, okay, if something's not working in this way, I have to find a new way to go to it. So I would say that those are the two main things that advice I would give. Oh, sorry, and one more thing is not to compare yourselves to other people. I think that football is a profession where you're only as useful to people as long as you bring a certain amount of results, as difficult as that is. But also, everyone has a different journey. And when I think about my career, growing up, I used to compare myself, like where I am at this stage, to other people. And it doesn't work like that, because everyone starts from a different place. They're going to go through a different journey. And if you do that, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to say, I need to be here by this specific time. And that can hinder your journey more than it can help it. So those are the three things that I would say I would give to.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the honesty that you share with us, and as well the importance of do everything as you do it for the Lord, as you do it for God. So you need to have a motivation that is beyond the money, beyond being successful. So you need to have a different mindset. And coming back to this. How is your journey in faith? So how much the faith is the key element which influence your career?
I think it's been a lot of back and forth. I feel like they influence each other, or rather, I feel like God has used football to teach me so many things about life and about my character and to grow me in my faith. I think my faith has been a backbone for my career because, as I said, football requires a lot of resilience. There are a lot of times where things don't go your way, or because of the volatility, you have to change directions. And I feel like my faith has been a backbone that's helped me to grow, helped me to continue to pursue even during those hard times. But at the same time, God has used those hard times to teach me more things about Himself and also to help me to become more reliant on Him. As I said, not having control over a lot of things in football can be frustrating. So it's like, where do I put my faith in now? So I'm going to put it in God, who has control over my football, who has control over everything. And I feel like He's really shown me a lot of things about Himself that I wouldn't have known if I wasn't playing football.
You know, this kind of mindset, which is surrender, right?
Yes.
So you surrendered yourself to God, which is above your career,
Yes.
which is above your fears, which is above your glorious moments. You just say, God, I'm just doing this for you, and you'll be helping me, and I'm just surrendered this to you. That is giving so much peace. We want to be independent, and this was the mistake from the beginning of Adam and Eve. They want to make decisions by themselves. Even God told them, do not eat from the tree, but they have done it. Pain, poverty, sickness, all of this, they are not created by God for our world, but all of this, they are coming as a consequence because of our sins. But God sent in our world Jesus Christ to redeem us. So how do you accept in your life Jesus as being your Savior? How was this moment? If you like to share with us.
Yes, this is also how I said that God uses football and vice versa with my faith. I grew up in a Christian household, so I grew up going to church. But I think when I was maybe around 11 or 12 years old, I had a very good friend who was a very good influence on me, and he helped me grow in my faith. And I think from that point, my faith became my own more so. But then I remember at that time, I think I had a different kind of perspective on faith. I wouldn't, at the time, I didn't think that I was acting like this, but when I look back at it, I feel like at that time I was kind of using God as a means to an end. So, God, I'm going to follow you and follow you as perfectly as I can, and then therefore you should help me get what I want. So I was, I guess, doing all the right things, and I definitely did grow in my knowledge of God. I was reading my Bible a lot and everything. But then I think when I started to first have this more of like a transformation of having a personal relationship with God was, I remember I'd gone to Germany when I was 16 for the first time, and I'd gone on trials. I did really well. I had some offers from some good clubs, and I came back home, and I was discussing with my mom in the basement, and she made this comment. She said, like, what if God doesn't want you to be a football player? And for me, this was the first time that this had ever like crossed my mind. And I was thinking, like, how like cruel would that be if, God gave me the talent. I've really worked so hard, and honestly, I've been trying to honor God as well as I can, and He wouldn't let me accomplish this desire that I deeply had. And then it really made me think about, like, okay, so what am I serving God for? If He's not going to give me that which I want, like, why am I serving Him? So then I went through, it's a long story, but I went through a lot of things, lo and behold. But fast forward a few years later, I found myself kind of where I was, like, at a time where I was emptied of myself. So I realized that I'd been building my identity on a lot of other things. And at this time, God like stripped away all those things that I thought that I was building my identity on, including football. And then I remember crying out to God. Like I was somewhere in Germany in like a small city with like 2,500 people in an apartment. I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I had so much time to think. And I was crying out to God. I was like, God, I don't have this. I don't have this. What do I have? And I remember vividly, like it wasn't audibly, but God whispered in my heart. He's like, you have me. And it's like I realized that all this time I've been building my identity on all these other things that couldn't hold, and I had to build myself on the solid foundation of God. So from that point, I started to really question. I said, okay, so if I do achieve everything that I want to achieve in football, what does it bring me? Like, what is really the end of everything? And from that point, I started to really grow in my relationship with God, and I feel like I've gotten to know Him deeper, and I have been building my identity on a different foundation rather than everything else I can lose. So,
You know, thank you so much for sharing this. I think it's so important for people who are watching this to realize that the life is short. Second, whatever you build in your life, money, you know, great career, everything, it will go one day. But what stays with you is who you are as a human being. And if God is there in your life, then there is hope. Forever hope, eternal hope. And it's impressive the way you put it, you know, and you come and you say, for why I'm doing this, what motivates me, what is the end of this, and all of that. How is looking one day in your life as a professional football player? A normal day.
A normal day?
Yes. And then you can share also a day when you have a game, or I don't know, maybe it's different each day, but
Yeah, no, it's pretty basic. So let's say we train in the morning.
how many hours?
Maybe I'm at the facility. Depends on the coach, because different coaches say, okay, you have to come 1 hour before, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. But maybe let's say I get there at 9, we train at 10. Then we go to the gym beforehand, do our stretching, activation, and everything we want to do. Then after we have video and some analysis. Then after we have this video and analysis, we have training. So we'll do our training, which will be like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then after, if you want to do extra stuff, like you want to do extra finishing, do work on your technique or do some extra things, then you do that. And then after, you can go to the gym to do some more recovery, or if you want to do like upper body or a bit of extra gym, then you shower and you go home. So maybe if I train at 10, I'll be home by like 1, 2. So and that's something that I think is a blessing about football, is that maybe you have like 4 or 5 hours a day where you're doing something intense, and then you have more time to do other things, as opposed to like a traditional 9 to 5 job. But on the other hand, it's 24/7 in the sense of you have to watch your diet, you have to watch your sleep, you have to watch your recovery. Like usually recovery doesn't end at the training ground. Like I go home and then I'll do some rolling out, or I'll do some red light therapy for muscle recovery, and then you have to look at the supplements you're taking and making sure you're getting enough sleep. So it's like you're consistently on the clock.
Okay.
And then even when you have breaks, like you have a summer break, you have to
you cannot just go
you
have
can't exactly
barbecue all the summer and come back and you're like,
exactly. Maybe you have a week where you take off, you're not training, and then the rest of the time you're training. So it's a break, but it's not really a break. But yeah. And if we have a match, it's usually the day before. We'll have a lighter training session, and then we'll go to the hotel. We'll stay there for the night, and then the morning, if it's an evening match, then we'll have some. Well, we always have video the day of a match.
So you all the time watch videos about football and learning from those videos, right?
Yeah, so like the coaches would have analyzed the opposition, how they play, and then they'll build a tactical plan for how we will play to play against the opposition.
Man, that's deep.
Yeah,
That's not something like I wake up, I gonna run for a couple of minutes before run the lake and let's do it.
And even
It's deep.
and even
It's
like
deep strategy.
Definitely, and even like I was saying, like I know teammates, they also work with individual coaches.
Yes.
So the coaches will analyze their matches, and then they'll have meetings with the coaches as well about, okay, what did you do in this match, and what were you did in your actions, and what you can do better. So it really is like you're like 4 or 5 hours there, but then you have other things you do when you are at home as well.
Bori, this is how I say, it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
It's deep. And then I know also your family, they are with you here, so
Yeah.
they align their schedule according to you, right? To your,
Yeah.
if you like to share with us a couple of practical advices for some of the young students who are following this material.
I think being a Christian, that's my foundation, and my idea of success is being able to please God through what He's given me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, as you said, just being able to surrender what I do to God and just to give my best effort every day and let Him control the results. And that is how success is defined in my life, in addition to being able to provide for my family and everything. And 3 pieces of advice that I would give to somebody who wants to achieve something great.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first thing is, from my perspective, you have to know Christ, come to know Christ, because I don't believe like you can achieve something worthwhile without Him. And then the second thing I would say is that discipline. There's a saying, it's like discipline over motivation, because your motivation goes up and down, but discipline is a consistency over time that's going to bring you what you want. And then the third thing that I would say, piece of advice, is just I would say learn to be resilient, because I think if for everybody who's achieved great things, it wasn't always a straight path. There was always setbacks, and being able to be resilient on those difficult times are what can help bring someone to achieve what they want to achieve. So,
thank you so much. So put God the center, discipline over motivation, and then as well be resilient. That means move for long race, be consistent. Bori, we want to thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you as well for your lessons that you share with us. Dear friends, until next time, be blessed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.